Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Hudricolive. And today we are talking about swagger and how you can unleash it as we sit down with author of the upcoming book, Swagger, Leslie Ehm. And she's going to tell us about how you can unleash that swagger inside of you no matter where you are or who you're with. So stay tuned as Hudricolive starts right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Hudricolive. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Hudricolive. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Hudricolive. I'm your host, Hudrico, and today we have Leslie Ehm, and she is going to teach us all about what swagger really means. Now, you thought you knew what it means your whole life, but a lot of us have been faking what we thought swagger is. But we're going to get down into it on an episode today where we talk about self-improvement and about getting you where we want to get to. But without further ado, Leslie, how do you do?
I do so great. I swear you could just talk to me all day long with that voice.
Listen, hey.
That's like the upside of being on this, the extra upside of being on this podcast is I get to just listen to your voice.
Well, listen, first off, we are extremely happy to have you here. And the voice is here. It's a part of the Hudrico charm. So it's what we do here. But for all my listeners who may not know, because I really try to go out and get guests from all walks of life. You know, we get athletes, we get music people. Today we get an author. But see, you're not just an author. You have a very, very well-documented and a past that goes from TV to training. Tell us a little bit about who Leslie Ehm is.
Well, let's see. I have a very weird, long history of things. I started my professional life as a singer. I was a singer way back in the day. And then I kind of accidentally moved into the film industry, which is a weird transition. It's a long story, but my music partner was in the film industry. So I kind of segued into that. And then I accidentally started to work on television. I was pitching a TV show to a big production company because I started to develop screen stories and TV concepts and so on. And in the middle of my pitch, because you know me, I go big, I go large. Whenever I get an opportunity, I'm all in. So I pitched this concept, and the guy who owned the production company said to me, you should be on camera. And I was like, yeah, clearly I should be on camera. Clearly you're a genius. And so they hired me and they gave me a talk show. But I hated it. It was horrible because there was such a disconnect in terms of our values, which is the worst thing ever. I wanted to be White Oprah. That was my dream. I just, like this, she was my queen. She still is. And I wanted to do everything that she was doing. And I loved her so much. And they wanted me to be Jerry Springer. Oh. So it just did not go well because I'm not mean. I mean, I'm tough and I'm cool, but I'm not mean in any way, shape, or form. So I did 6 episodes and then I said, I don't want to do this. Please let me go, which they did. And then I went, well, I guess someone wanted me. Maybe somebody else will want me. And that began my TV career, which I did for a bunch of years. Then I decided to move back to Canada from the UK, where I'd been living for 17 years. And I really had no saleable skills except for, being on TV and being a singer and working in the film industry, which, none of that is really a saleable skill. So I kind of do what I do. And I looked at what were my transferable skills, what were the things that I had learned along the way, and how could I use them? And I talked my way into an advertising agency. And within about 8 months of talking my way in as an intermediate copywriter, I ended up being the creative director, which I did for a fair few years. But I loved being in a place of creativity and all that stuff, and I loved working with people. It was really my first experience in some semblance of the corporate world. Advertising has its own corporate world when you work in big global agencies like I did. But I realized that I couldn't really help my people, the people that I was given to lead from the inside. I was too busy putting out client fires. I was too busy delivering work. I was too busy dealing with the politics and all of the crap that goes along being in a corporate job. And my people were suffering. They had big skills gaps. They didn't know how to present well. They didn't know how to tap into their creativity effectively. They didn't understand how to collaborate. All of these things that the assumption is that we know naturally when we work in advertising. We don't, just so you know. So like it was a bit of a you know what show. So I came home one day and I said to my husband, I feel like I'm using my superpowers for evil instead of good. And I think I'm going to quit my job and start a training company. To which he said, excuse me, say what? You have a very good job that pays you lots of money. You're going to say what? I said, yeah, come on. It's a great idea. He said, babe, you hate training and you're untrainable. I said, perfect. Who better to start a training company than someone who is A, untrainable, and B, hates training? Because if I can create experiences for people like me, then I'm probably going to be onto something, right? So that's what I did. I quit my job and started a training company, and that was 13 years ago. And now, I found my happy place, my place of purpose.
Now, you did something that most people won't do. You took a step on faith and you bet on yourself. You know, you said, I'm going to go against what what everything says. The fortune cookie says, no fortune cookie you going to get. Going to say, quit your job tomorrow and start a training company. And to do that, there had to be a point where you had to, was there any bit of nervousness? What was the concern? Or did you just say, hey, I'm betting on myself, I'm going all in, and this is just what I'm going to do?
Well, I'm someone who understands their personal power. Like I know who I am. I've always known who I am. And when I decide that I want something and then I'm going to go after it, it's going to take a lot to stop me because I got a lot of stuff. And when I'm all in, I am all in and I put everything to work. I put my smarts and my heart and my intuition and my integrity and my creativity and stuff. And that's a pretty unstoppable combination. And I think in this world, if you know who you are, you know, if you know what you got and you're not apologizing for it and you're not pretending that you're less than you are and you're not doing things to try and fit into somebody else's mold, you could just do you. You are the most powerful you when you do that. And so that's what I did. I was like, what's the worst thing that can happen? So it doesn't work. Big deal. I'll go get a job. I've always said, if it doesn't work out, I'll go get a job.
Always had a job. Why not get another one? Yeah. You know, we've always had one. Now, you've
talked my way into 5 other careers, so I could talk my way into another 3. Who cares, right?
Now, see, that's one gift that you have that I believe that a lot of people wish they had. It's that gift of gab, that being able to speak at a large, audiences and speaking to people. Now, you list a lot of things. You listed TV, you listed advertising. You forgot boxing. I saw you was up in there putting paws on people saying you're not tough. So I don't want to listen for all the listeners. Don't let her fool you. She is a small potato, but she hard to peel. Okay, she can handle her hands in the ring too. So she's squared off a lot of different ways. But tell me, after this big melting pot of careers, now it comes together in the culmination, and we have this book. The book called Swagger. Now, I get introduced with a lot of different ideas. People say, hey, I want to be on the podcast for this. I want to be on the podcast for that. There's some people I see their story, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to call you. Don't come by, but I'm going to call you. Don't ever, you
can come by. Yeah. You're welcome to come by.
But we'll see. But as soon as I saw the title of this book, I didn't look at the name of the author. I didn't look at the name. I saw the title of the book, and it grabbed my attention. Swagger. Tell me, what can people expect? Because when this book drops, and it's dropping in May, ladies and gentlemen, it's coming soon. What can they expect when they pick up a copy of Swagger?
Well, listen, no lie, I hope it's going to change their lives. That's why I wrote the book. I really, really, really want to do that for people. And I believe that the book has the potential to do that. Because here's the thing. When you hear the word swagger, you automatically think of that peacocky, show-off, strutty, arrogant, in-your-face kind of jam, which is not cute. It's not cute. It's not sexy. Just so you know, it's not. It's arrogant, and people do not respond well to that. The kind of swagger that I'm talking about is very, very different. My definition of swagger is the ability to manifest who you really are and hold on to it in the face of all that psychological crap that's going to try and come for it, regardless of situation or environment. So it means that you really figure out who you are and you show up the same no matter where you go, no matter what is happening, no matter what challenges, no matter what situation. There's one you, one face, one heart, one mind. And the world cannot mess with that. It cannot cause you to be anything other than who you really are. And I think that's the key to happiness. I think it's what differentiates us. It's our place of power. And it gives us that sense of agency in our own life that nobody can control us. We can choose to bring our best self to wherever we are. And we can choose to give our company that we work for everything that we are because we feel that we're entitled to be fully realized. You know?
No,
and
I do.
we don't ask for permission. We just go large and bring everything we are to the party.
Now, everything you said, listen, it sound good. I mean, it sound perfect. It sound like it's the way to go and it's the thing to do. But
There's a butt coming.
Listen,
I can hear it. There's a butt.
Everybody got one and they come equipped with two cheeks. Okay. Here's the question for you. The world we live in equips us to put on so many different masks. You got to have the social media mask. My life can be horrible, but when I get on Facebook, it got to be amazing. You know, there's the work mask. I can be my way at home, but when I get to work, I got to be rigid because that's the way work likes. When I get around my kids, you know, there's so many different masks that you have to wear. How do you make that authentic you fit in this unauthentic world? Because this world is not authentic. How are you telling people to say, hey, be you, it's okay to be you and fit in this world?
Well, you used a lot of shoulds and have tos. I would challenge that. I don't think you have to. I think when you go to work, the expectation is that you have a degree of professionalism, right? That's what people want. They want you to respect your colleagues. They want you to do your best work. They want you to show up on time, to be accountable for your actions. They want you to be kind and collaborate with other people and help everybody to be their best. But there is no manual that says when you show up at work, you got to walk like this, talk like this, act like this, be like this. We tell that story to ourselves. We look around us and we go, all right, what's everybody else doing? And let me figure out how I can fit in. I got to fit in. No, you don't. No, you don't. You got to be in your place of excellence. You got to do your good work. And you got to be cool. Like you got to respect the people who are around you. But you do not have to walk and talk and act and dress and behave like everybody else. Because when you do, you become invisible. You assimilate into this Borg, you know? And that's actually how you don't get ahead, how you don't succeed, how you don't get those opportunities because nobody notices you. And it's something we do to ourselves. There is no rule book written anywhere that says you must be like everybody else. It's just the thing that we've told ourselves. And it's bull, you know what?
Listen, sometimes you have to, like you said, you said on one of your posts, sometimes you got to put the word in there to make it right. Sometimes it's bullshit. You can call it how you see it.
It's bullshit.
Sometimes it is.
It really is.
And I think that's one of the things that's so impactful about the book. So I've been blessed enough to read just a couple of the chapters and I'm getting into it. And one thing that you talked about very early on is about, you know, you had the form and you had a gentleman come up and he gave what he thought was the right answer. What he thought was the answer that everybody wanted to hear. But then as you kind of kept pushing him and gave him to give the real answer, he even got emotional. Getting people to tie into that real them can really bring out those emotions. But one thing that kind of underlines that word is confidence. We have people who don't have what I like to call real confidence. They got fake confidence. They got the confidence that they want you to think they have. How do you balance that facade between that fake confidence and real confidence? And how do you let your confidence come to the top?
So the whole fake it till you make it thing is the worst thing that you can do in this world. It's the worst piece of advice that anyone could give you. It's the worst piece of advice to take. It does not work. Because here's the thing. When you're going through that fake it till you make it thing, what you're trying to pretend to the world is that you have this magical thing called confidence. Except you don't have it. The only way that you can have legit confidence is as a result of competence. Only by getting good at something, doing it over and over and over again, and proving to your own brain that, hey, I kind of got this, like you could kind of put me in a bunch of situations. I know what to do. I have the skills. I have the experience. Like I'm good. My baseline is pretty good. That's where true confidence stems from. And if you fake having confidence, you limit your ability to build competence. First of all, you're walking around telling everybody how you got it. Oh my God, I'm so all over it. I got it, whatever. It means you can never ask anybody for help. You can never put up your hand and go, yeah, maybe there's a little thing that I don't know, or maybe I've been sort of talking a good game and I really do need some more experience here or there, because now you're a liar. So you can't do that. So now you're trapped, you're paralyzed, right? Plus the fact that if you continue to go through that fake it till you make it thing, there's something called the Dunning-Kruger Effect. And big study that was done at Cornell University. And what they discovered was that when people, I smoke their own crack, right? When they start believing their own hype, they stop being able to make good decisions. Because they really don't have all the information necessary to make a good decision, but they won't let you know. So A, they stop being able to make good decisions, and B, they also start to believe that they are better and smarter than they are, which results in this horrible combination of ignorance and arrogance. We all seen people like that, right?
And what's funny? That person, I hate that person that you see who does that. That's typically the person you can't wait to watch them fall. You can't wait for that moment to come for that person to make that mistake. As soon as they do, you can say, aha, you didn't know it. You didn't come find out. And that person, like you mentioned before, they can't come back and ask for help because they haven't burnt the bridge. But I'll tell you what, they may have lit a couple sparklers on it to get people to that point.
They dug a hole.
Oh, yes,
they're standing up to their neck in that hole, and they don't know how to climb out. And it's the worst thing that you can do, because the thing that everybody is so afraid of is kind of owning where they are in their journey at that time. I mean, we all started from somewhere. We all had to be at the beginning of knowledge or the beginning of experience. There was a time, listen, I've had 7 careers or something, and believe me, I knew absolutely nothing about each one of them when I started, like zero. And I had to find out and figure it out. And I wasn't going to pretend what I did, which is the advice I give to everybody, is you find the person around you who knows the most, and you go over to them and you say, hi, really incredibly smart person who knows so many things. I think you're pretty amazing and pretty smart. Would you mind if I learned from you? Because I would really appreciate if I could learn from you, because I think you really got it going on. And then, because you've now flattered them and recognized their ability, usually they go, okay, sure. And then if you're really, really smart, you turn around and you tell everybody how you got smart, how you got better. You say, that guy or that girl gave me their wisdom. They had the time, they had the patience, they had the generosity of spirit. The things they taught me are incredible. That's why I know so much now, blah, blah, blah. Because first of all, you're acknowledging where you are now, that you have more knowledge, but you're crediting somebody else for helping you to get there. So you think everybody else doesn't want to go, hey, let me help you now. Let me help you, because you're going to say the same positive things about me, right? And so the thing is that people have somehow convinced themselves that there's this weird expectation that we come into the world fully formed, knowing everything. And it doesn't matter where we go or what we do. Start a new job, never done this before, but I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. Oh my God, you so don't know what you're doing. Please put your hand up and go. Imagine if surgeons behaved like that. Would you want your surgeon till they fake it till you make it? No, I don't think so.
Not at all.
But it's a story that we tell ourselves, and it is it's a self-imposed prison that we lock ourselves into, because the longer we do it, the worse off we are.
The longer the sentence.
Worse off.
The longer you do it, the longer the sentence. I believe the quote you put in the book was, confidence does not breed competence, but competence breeds confidence.
Yeah. That's it. Look, he's quoting me.
The quotes, bars. So in this book, you take people on a journey. To me, it seems more like a journey. And you basically, you're a journey of undressing all the fakeness that's around you and saying, hey, it's okay to be you. What do you say to that person who is still nervous, who's reading the book and they're saying, oh, it's easy for you to say do this because you have this, this, and that. How do you get them, or what would be, that's a better question. What would be the first step to embracing a person's true swagger?
I think the first thing is to figure out who you really are. To start listening to those little voices in your head that are telling you that things don't feel right. You know, I wish I could speak my truth. I wish people could see me for who I was. I wish when people acknowledged my contribution, I felt like it was the real me that had done it. And we over time, we kind of lose connection with who we really are. Like I would say in the book, you want to know who you really are, go ask someone who you've been buddies with since 10th grade. They'll tell you.
Tell you everything about you.
Who you know today, but you also knew back then. Go and ask that person. What have you always loved about me? What's the same about me today that it was, back in the day? What are the qualities that you've always admired in me? Why do you keep me around? Why are we friends? Then go and talk to somebody who you've known maybe, 10 years. Let's assume you're 10 years past 10th grade. And ask that person, maybe someone who you met at work but you became really good friends with. Ask them the same questions. See if what they say aligns with your 10th grade friend. Now go talk to somebody who's only known you 6 months and only known you through work, for example. Ask them the same questions and see if all three people see you the same way, or if there's a radical difference. I call that the swagger gap. If there's a radical difference in the way that they perceive you, it shows you how disconnected you become. Because look, we all come into the world a swagger-filled badass. You look at kids, kids feeling the bad selves. They look in the mirror, they go, I am beautiful, I am awesome, I got it going on, I can do anything. And then comes life. You're right. And life starts kicking the crap out of them. Little, strips are pulled off their confidence, off their sense of self-worth, their sense of ability. They start letting all of this bullshit from around them take their toll. And at some point, most of us wake up and we go, what happened? Where did I go? Like, where's the me that was adventurous and that took risks and, felt so good about myself and felt like I could do anything? What happened to that guy? What happened to that girl? That is kind of the place that I want people to start from, is to say, I want you to go back and figure out who was that person that got chipped away at, because you're still that person. It's just gotten trapped inside because you're protecting something. You become afraid. You have the memories of pain. You become insecure. You're too focused on ambition. You're too trapped in persona. All of those are what I refer to as the swagger blockers. You're stuck in those places. Maybe all of them, maybe some of them, but your swagger is still there. Right? And it's just trapped in there with you because the world doesn't feel safe to you anymore.
It seems like you lose the carelessness and you adopt the caution. When you were a kid, you were careless. When I was a kid, I'd jump out of every tree. Let me tell you something, I won't even jump down the top. There's 2 stairs. You understand me?
I bet you were such trouble when you were a kid. I'm
still about your trouble now, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. People do kind of get away from that careless attitude. And there is a point where you can't be completely, you can't just go into it. YOLO is also a dangerous term. You can't just say you only live life once. To a certain extent, you can. To a certain extent, you still have to be somewhat responsible. You can't just go completely to the left field. But
I say it's not YOLO. I say this is not a rehearsal, this life we get. We don't get a do-over. You get one ride around the carousel. That's it. And so the things that you dream of are only going to happen if you do them. If you think about the things that you're going to regret not having done or not having tried, if you know what those things are today, then shame on you, because you don't get a do-over. And the people around you will suffer as well, because you will not be able to be your fully realized self. And it doesn't mean you have to be irresponsible. That's got nothing to do with it. The irony is that we all know that at work, for example, who's the boss that we love the most? Mm-hmm. It's that boss who speaks the truth to us, who is transparent, who we feel we can trust, who wants to take the time to connect with us authentically, and who doesn't seem to fall into any, bullshit, political drama at work and stuff. They kind of seem to be above it, and they really seem to care about their people. That's the boss that we gravitate towards.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we think trying to be that boss is somehow not allowed. All of the things that speaking their truth, transparency, openness, vulnerability, what you see is what you get, human connection, all of those things, those are the exact things that we are moving away from when we don't tap into our swagger, when we try to assimilate. So of course, we're never going to achieve these wonderful things that we want to achieve.
Now, how do you balance this? Now, here's where I push back. Mm-hmm. And there's no versy like controversy. What happens in today's world? Because in today's world, you can't say everything you want to say because we're in a society where things are a lot more sensitive. If you say something to somebody and mm-hmm. it's perceived the wrong way, or they say, you know what, I was intimidated by the way this person said something, it becomes it's a gray area. So mm-hmm. sometimes that old boss, I'll give you a best example. So when I first joined the military, I remember my first supervisor, I asked him for directions on how to get somewhere. He told me, do you know how to read? Do you have eyes? Go find the board, and if you read well enough, you know how to get there. Now, while I just looked at it as, well, I probably should get out of his face and go get done what I need to get done. 2021, man, they may put you under the jail if you talk to somebody crazy like that. So, and I'm not saying that you want to take back the disrespectful part of things, but mm-hmm. some things you just can't bring back. How do you balance that?
Okay, so there's 3 drivers of swagger. Mm-hmm. One is truth. And we know that truth is something that you've got to think carefully about, because you can't just run around with your hair on fire screaming, I must speak my truth, and kind of barf it all over people. No one's for that. Nobody has the patience for that. And, that's not what it's about. Your truth is the stuff that you feel like you must say in order to be the best contributor to the collective. It's the stuff you have to contribute. I got to say this out loud. I don't want to be held back. But the next part of it is intention, because your intention is everything. If you are speaking your truth and you're not considering your intention, it's not going to go well for you. Thanks. So even when you speak your truth, you sometimes have to take a step back and say, look, this is not, I can't just barf it all over everybody and expect them to like it. I have to think about, if I really want my truth to land, I have to think about, how am I going to frame my truth? When am I going to speak it? Where am I going to speak it? And to whom am I going to speak it? If I want it to land, I got to be smart. The next part is intention. That's why am I speaking it? And if you're speaking your truth like solely for your own gain, it's probably not going to go well. But if you are speaking your truth and it's of benefit to the collective or for the greater good, it's got a way better chance of landing. And here's the secret that most people don't know. Things can be good for you and for the collective at the same time. You're not sacrificing what's good for you for the collective, right? So the why you're speaking it is really important. If your intention is to be an asshole, you're going to get what you deserve. It's not going to go well. If your intention is to big yourself up in order to make somebody else look bad, it's not going to go well. If your intention is to try and suppress somebody else, to keep them quiet, it's not going to go well. If it's to take the attention away from somebody else and have the light shine on you, it's not going to go well. But if your intention is to somehow contribute, people have a tendency, the good ones, have a tendency to take a step back and say, okay, I'll have a listen. So, for example, you look at those difficult conversations that everybody's worried about having, at work. Let's say you've got a review coming up, and your boss is going to sit you down and tell you all kinds of stuff. And you're nervous about it. but you want to get the best feedback possible. And maybe your boss doesn't have the best reputation for knowing how to give feedback. So he might know it or she might know it, you know it, and everyone's just set up for this thing. That's why they only do it once a year, because nobody wants to go through that, right? It's like, please, what can I do to avoid it? But if you walk into that meeting and you say, hey, so before we start, I just want you to know that my intention here is to really do my best to understand what's working and what might not be working, so that I can be the best contributor possible. And I know that these conversations can be really difficult. But I do want it to be a conversation. So if there's something that I don't understand or I don't agree with, I'm just going to ask questions. Cool? Yeah. Now the person is not on their back foot anymore. They're like, oh, they're open and okay, I don't have to worry so much. I don't have to be so careful. The likelihood is that you're going to have a way more productive conversation. And you spoke your truth. You said, I'm a little nervous about this. I want to make sure it goes well. My intention is to contribute in a meaningful way. I know these conversations can be hard for you. I know they can be hard for me. So let's just try and keep it chill and have a great conversation. And the other person kind of goes, whew, okay, that's good. I like that.
Defusing a situation before the bomb even gets lit.
Yes,
and
yes.
It's the best way to go about it.
In the book, I talk a lot about do-overs. If something didn't go well, go back at it. Go knock on that person's door and say, I didn't like how that went. If it wasn't good for me, I'm guessing it wasn't good for you either. The other thing that I teach people to do is to scenario plan, is to say, okay, I want to go in there and speak my truth, and I want to make sure it's going to land. My intention is clear, and I have self-belief, which is the third driver. I really believe that I should be speaking my truth, but let's lay it out, because I don't want to get stuck in fear or insecurity. I don't want to let that stop me. So I could go in and say these things and I could get reaction A, reaction B, or reaction C. Okay, what am I going to do if I get A? What am I going to do if I get B? And what am I going to do if I get C? So that I will not be knocked off my center no matter what happens. And just as you go through the act of kind of scenario planning, you build up the competence that leads to confidence to be able to have those conversations and make connections. Plus, once you've scenario planned a little bit in your head, and there might be a D that comes at you, you'll probably be able to pivot to the D and be able to have that conversation too. Nothing is ever as simple as black and white. There's not only one answer or one way to have a conversation or one way to do it. It's what's real between two humans. Like the moment we're having here can never be recreated. No matter how hard we try, it's gone. It's done. So we gotta know that we only get one go, and we want to bring as much quality to it as possible. And yeah, you got to be a little brave, but you also got to ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? Right? That
is something that I have lived by my entire life. The word no, I've embraced it. I learned how to say it in so many different languages just because I want to be comfortable with it. No, niet, nine. I mean, you come on, however you want to give it to me. Because a lot of times people are so afraid of hearing the word no that they will, in fear of hearing no, they will prevent themselves from ever hearing yes, because they won't even ask the question. And I think that's another part that the book addresses. When you get to that point of embracing your swagger, you lose that fear. You lose that fear of saying, well, I wonder how this is going to go. No, we ain't going to wonder. We're going to ask. And we're going to know. And then once we do know, we now know how to address. And that's what, once again, plan A, B, and C comes into play. So for the person who is, well, I don't know. How do we bring this home? Because I think they need to understand just how important this book is. And I can sit here and tell you all day long, this is on the Hudrico reading list. I'm just starting it now. Something new, exclusive. Hudrico reading list. Boom. Coming up. And this has made it to the list. And this is a great book and from a great author, as you guys can see. But if you had to give me 3 reasons why Tom, Tim, Tasha, Tina, whoever, man, woman, child, and or beast should buy this book, what would be those reasons?
I think number 1, because we all deserve to have our swagger unleashed, and without having sort of a guidebook to hold your hand, it can be really overwhelming. And this book is super practical. I don't play. I come from the training background. This book walks you through it step by step by step, tons of exercises. It's practical. It's no bullshit. It's real. I do not hold back in any way, shape, or form. So if you want a how-to, as opposed to just, you get yourself all worked up and all inspired, but then you don't know what to do with yourself, that is not what this book is about. It is very much a guidebook on how to do it. So I think that's the first thing.
Okay.
Second of all, there's countless stories in this book from people who I've worked with in the best companies in the world, all around the world, and at all levels of the organization. So you will see yourself in someone in this book. You will recognize your own story, and you will see what people have gone through to unleash their swagger and what happened to them and how did it change their lives. So again, I'm not blowing smoke. This is proof of what these people have experienced, and all of them were willing to share their stories in the book. Every single one got a big tick. Here's the story that we experienced together. Do you want to share it? And everybody who's in the book said, hell to the yeah, because I want more people to find and unleash their swagger. And the third reason is that I really do believe that it has the potential to change your life. Like I said, the full circle moment now we're coming to. Like I said in the beginning, it has the potential to change your life, because if you're picking up the book and you're considering it in the first place, you're already there. You are already there. Your swagger is waiting for you. The question is, what are you waiting for?
What are you holding back from? So you've given 3 great reasons. Now I'm going to give you one else you got to give. Tell the people where they get the book from. Now I know we can pre-order now. I know pre-orders started, but for everybody who wants to get this book, how do they get, better yet, let me change that. How do they unleash their swagger?
Okay, there's lots of ways. If you wanna be able to read the first chapter right now, you can go to swaggerthebook.com and join the Swagger Collective. You get a whole bunch of other little perks too, but the first thing you're gonna get is the first chapter. It will come right into your inbox, so that's pretty cool. And you can learn all about the book. You can pre-order on all good booksellers because I'm everywhere. So you can get it Amazon.com, you can get it Amazon.ca, Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, Porchlight Books, all the indie bookstores. I'm everywhere. If you want to follow me on social, always a good thing because I'm all the swagger all the time. So you can find me on Instagram at Leslie Ehm Speaks. I know we are connected, babe.
Oh yeah, got you.
I know. We got a lot of love on Instagram, yeah. You can find me on LinkedIn, also at Leslie Ehm. You can find me on Facebook at Leslie Ehm Speaks. I'm also on Twitter at Leslie Ehm, and even on Clubhouse, my Clubhouse jam. I love Clubhouse. Man. You got to come be my guest on Clubhouse. People
let me know.
Such a good time.
You come on.
Such a good time. Every Monday at 4 p.m. EST, I'm on Clubhouse in the Swagger Collective room. It's easy to find. My thing is all about connection. So you could talk to me anywhere. Some people go like, I follow you, but I don't want to talk. I'm like, no, message me, say hi, ask me a question. I'll do my best to answer it. Connect with me. Listen, this is my legacy work now. This is the thing I'm the most proud of and the thing that I'm going to leave behind. So I just want to spread the swagger message as far as I possibly can and reach as many people as possible. So, hey, I'm all here for you. I'm all for it. And I just want you to be unleashed and be happier and live your absolutely most badass best life.
Well, you know what? I like it. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Swagger trying to come up my shirt. Let me close all that up. First off, I want to take the time to thank you, but this brings me to my final time out. Ladies and gentlemen, for the final time out today, we learned a lot. We learned about swagger and what it truly is. It's not just a song. It's not just a beat. Your swagger is who you are and unleashing that real you. We live in a world where being fake is easy. I can tell you anybody that I want to be. I can be you. I can be somebody else. I can be the guy down the street. But guess what? How about you try something different? Try being that person that you've been for umpteenth years. That person that you look at in the mirror. That person that you go to sleep with. That person that you wake up with. Because that person is amazing. And that person has swagger. But you and only you can unleash that. Now, I'm giving you a tool to help you unleash that. But that swagger that's deep down inside, you got to want to have it. Because if you don't, somebody else going to always tell you who you are and who you want to be. Bam. We want to thank our guest, Leslie Ehm, for coming on with us, sitting down with us down here in Hudricolive. Man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming and sitting and spending some time with me, man. It's truly been a swagalicious event.
This is just about the most fun you can have with your clothes on. I have to say that. So
I love it.
Thank you so much for giving Swagger a platform and for giving me the most delicious hour of my life, baby. This was so lovely.
Listen, of course, man. We want to thank all our supporters, our Patreon supporters, the Brown family, Aziz family, Brick House Barbecue, Franklin family, Sean Cromartie, Jamie Tate, my sponsors, Destiny House, Clothing House, William Ball. Y'all know who y'all. But matter of fact, Maestro, play the video. For supporting the show. And that's another episode of Hudricolive in the books.